When you're feeling down, when you're feeling sad, there's one thing that can always cheer you up. Just go and play a few video games, because odds are you will run into a few sad, pathetic characters whose lives are just utter crap. And that may actually make you feel better, because compared to them, you may be doing okay. And these are the top 7 saddest video game characters. Characters that have unfortunate things happen to them constantly. Oh, those poor bastards. They just can't catch a break. Nothing goes right for them ever. And when they do, worse things happen. Much worse things. Needless to say, there will be spoilers for certain video game stories and about certain characters. So, if you don't want your surprise spoiled if you haven't played any of the games they show up in, just mute and skip to the next one, or just look at the text and see what characters you may actually want to see. Or just look at the whole thing, like, their lives are basically crap. That's not much of a spoiler in any of these games. That being said, let's get it started with number 7, Max Payne. Oh boy. Talk about a descriptive name. This guy is in constant pain. And not just from the withdrawals from all those painkillers he kept taking in Max Payne 1 and 2 on account of him being constantly shot, tortured, and done bad things to by several people. Max's life is a giant tragedy. First, his wife gets killed because she was investigating some new kind of drug made by a powerful corporation. His baby girl also gets killed on the same day by the same people that killed his wife. He then goes into a pit of despair and depression, which leads him to go deep undercover and become basically a bum for the mafia. Then his only friend and person that knew he was undercover gets killed. He gets beaten, tortured, drugged a lot. Someone tries to set him on fire, and in general bad things happen to him. The only person that actually seemed to want to help him, Mona Sachs, also apparently gets killed. And that's just in the first game. In the second game, he gets shot in the head, he falls into an actual pit, he's hunted by the police again. Mona Sachs turns out to be alive. His only, well, sort of ish friend tries to kill him, and then Mona Sachs dies again. All the while he's being hunted by the memories of his dead family. And in the third game, he can't grow hair anymore. Like, what more can you do to this man? That poor bastard. Number 6, Sly Boots. Sly didn't have that much of a happy life, but he did try as best as he can and became an actual semi-successful detective. With his own agency, a secretary, a partner, a robot, everything was going well. And then, one night, the partner which he loved gets kidnapped, the secretary which loved him dies brutally, tragically, heartbreakingly because of some stupid thing he did trying to get the partner back, and his robot runs out of batteries. Now this may not seem like much compared to what Max Payne went through, but oh, it gets worse. He had the secretary Fatima Duhan turned into a digital avatar to constantly remind him that he basically killed her. And to do that, he gets into debt, a lot of debt, which he can't pay back, so he's constantly beaten by mobsters and thrown out windows. And when things almost look like they're starting to get better, the universe turns out to be close to being destroyed, and a lot of bad things happen to him. Like, the person he sort of started to see like a father figure stabs him in the back after repeatedly hitting him in the face with a stick. I would tell you more, but Anachronox 2 still hasn't come out 16 years later. I hope it will one day, and things will probably go even worse for Boots. Number 5, Adam Jensen. He never asked for this, you know, right? He never asked for any of this, but it happened. So Adam has an interesting story. You see, he was basically a genetic experiment to try and make people that aren't incompatible with cybernetic prosthetics. But there was a lab fire, he got adopted. I actually think his parents died. Not really sure about that, but that's not important. When he was a cop, he had to do some not pleasant stuff over which he quit. His ex-girlfriend uses him as a guinea pig for experiments without telling him, well, at least his DNA. And oh yeah, he gets thrown through a plate glass window and shot point blank in the head. And then in order to live and be able to take revenge, his boss turns him into a killbot without asking him. He just wakes up made of metal and anger. And oh yeah, while he was in the hospital, because there was no one to take care of his dog, they killed his dog. Like, do you understand, right? They killed his dog because there wasn't anyone that wanted to take care of him. Do you understand the kind of shitty people Adam Jensen knows? The kind of crappy people that would actually, instead of letting a innocent little dog run around their house, they kill him. Oh yeah, and other bad things happen to him, like he fails to stop the world from turning into a giant mess where Ogs and humans fight, and he gets things done to him repeatedly, gets blown up. It's not a pleasant life for Adam Jensen. But the part with the dog, yeah, that's... Max Payne probably would have gone completely insane if his dog died too, but he doesn't have one. Number 4, Cloud Strife. Oh, poor Cloud. If there ever was a more pitiful video game character... Oh, there are, but he is very pitiful. Cloud was a bit of a dweeb. Other kids picked on him. His dad died. He kept falling into giant chasms because of Tifa. Well, he only fell into one once, but he was in a coma. He tries to join Soldier to, stop being made fun of in his hometown. Fails badly and doesn't become a soldier. He becomes just a grunt, but he lies to people that he is a soldier. And he had a friend who was a really good one, and he knew Sephiroth was the best one. And, Sephiroth burns down his hometown, killing his mom, and him and his best friend sort of, they're not dead, but they're not really alive for a while. They get experimented on so much that Cloud's brain breaks to pieces. Zack dies trying to save Cloud's life, and Cloud just realizing, his brain realizes that, oh my god, I control a total loser. I don't want to be Cloud Strife anymore. I want to be Zack. His brain starts believing that he is Zack. Only he's not Zack, he is Cloud Strife, a dumbass that probably did something with a light socket, that would explain the hair, that is actually being controlled by Sephiroth. He almost kills Ares, he gives Sephiroth the means to destroy the Earth, and like most characters in Japanese role-playing games, he is a bit of an emo. Not to be confused with an emu. I still haven't seen a JRPG starring a giant flightless bird from Australia. It would probably not be as pitiful a character as Cloud Strife. Number 3, April Ryan. Now, April has had a tough life. She was adopted, being a dragon. She was adopted by a human family. The dad accidentally dropped her and caused her to be paralyzed. The doctor said she could never walk again. The dad went to kind of a drinky, abusive, self-loathing phase. But when she beat all odds and started to walk, he sort of saw that like an insult, like she was mocking him, so he turned violent a lot until April pushed him down the stairs and ran away from home, and then she gets dragged into a hole. The Earth is gonna go kabooey if you don't become a prisoner for 1,000 years in a place that doesn't exist. But to do that, she has to go through a lot of things, like selling basically herself into slavery to go into space. But then it turns out it's not her that actually needs to be the new guardian, so she's free to go back to her former life where, her best friend was shot because of her. The other one is probably under arrest. She doesn't have a home, she doesn't have any money, she doesn't have, the family probably won't take her back. So she goes to Arcadia to become a freedom fighter. She abandons her last friend, Crow, which was kind of a crime. She turns from an artist into someone that can snap a guard's neck without any sort of remorse or hesitation. And then, she gets killed, and here's the best part, she stops being the main character in her own game series. Like, how sad is that? Like, you have April Ryan, the main character of The Longest Journey, who is less present in The Longest Journey franchise and less important overall than Zoe or Saga or Kian. She just gets dumped on constantly. She just can't catch a break. Not even when she's dead. Because, being a dragon, she's, she can die, but not really die. And the game that was supposed to be about her, traveling, not actually dead, they're probably not gonna make that one anymore. April Bloody Ryan. You poor bastard. Dragon bastard. Actually, would you be a bastard if you only had one parent because you don't need any other? That's an interesting idea. Number 2, Luigi. I can't really say too many things about Luigi. You know Luigi, right? Luigi was second fiddle since day one. Even in his own game, he still feels like a side character, like an afterthought, like he's just there to fill space until Mario comes along. And Nintendo actually changed his appearance to not seem identical to Mario, because having twin brothers would have been such a bad thing, and they turned him into, something that looks like Luigi. You've got to admit it, Luigi looks like crap, and his demeanor is like that of someone that got crapped on constantly over the course of his life, mostly probably by Mario. You're probably wondering, well, why don't you put Yoshi here, because Mario keeps abusing Yoshi? Yeah, but at least Mario has the decency to kill Yoshi, because there's not one Yoshi, there's a lot of them. But Luigi, he keeps him alive to abuse him constantly, decade after decade. Even the Year of Luigi, remember that celebration Nintendo had with the Year of Luigi? Even they didn't give enough of a crap about Luigi to actually put him in a good game. Oh my god, does it suck to be Luigi. And the number 1 saddest video game character is Glory. Now you may wonder, who is Glory? Well, it's obvious you haven't played Shadowrun Dragonfall. Because if you had, you wouldn't be wondering who is Glory, you'd be saying to yourself, oh yeah, that makes sense. You see, Glory's backstory is, well, from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not tragic and 10 being very tragic, Glory killed her own mother without meaning to. Let's go back a bit. Glory's dad was an asshole that went around with a bunch of asshole killing elves and magical beings in the world of Shadowrun, and it turned out that Glory herself was actually a good magic user, like she had power. So when he found out, he sort of really did not like his daughter that much. A lot, like not at all. So she left home. She got in with some people that accepted her for being what she was, a mage. Only the people that accepted her for what she was were kind of cultists of a demonic deity that's not really that pleasant. You know, the adversary, Satan, which sort of latched on to her soul and started to feed her all sorts of ideas like she is strong, she is powerful, she can do anything, she can get revenge, she can go home and get revenge. Knock on the door, and when her dad opens it, kill him outright. Don't let him say a word, just burn him, turn him to ashes. And she goes home. She knocks on the door opens, and she burns her mum. And the demon knew who would open the door, and he just started laughing at her. So Glory then decides to basically cut herself up and replace as much of her body as possible with the worst, clunkiest cybernetics imaginable, so any trace of magic within her dies. And because that magic is tied to her being human, with every augmentation her humanity was stripped away. She became almost an unfeeling, uncaring killbot. Well, not completely, like she does eventually get a bit better, makes friends like Monica, who gets killed by an AI. Yeah, you gotta admit, as crappy as some characters' lives can be, being tricked into killing the only person that actually loved you and then forsaking your own humanity to deal with the pain and prevent the devil from making you do that again is kind of high up there on the list. Well, that's it for the saddest video game characters ever made. If you have your own characters that you believe have even sadder stories, please feel free to mention them in the comments. I'd also like to give a special mention to Solid Snake and to Samus Aran for being shafted out of her own series just like April Ryan was, but even worse.
Thank you for watching this show. If you enjoyed it, please consider watching some of our other videos and maybe sharing them or giving a thumbs up if you feel like it. And if you really liked what you saw, please check out our Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you could help us make much better shows and get some rewards in the process. Or you could consider buying my book called Tale of Doom. Volume 1 is out now and available for just $2. And as always, if you thought it was horrible, you know where to find me and complain about it.